Hey, what is up guys? My name is Oleg, this is Bond. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're gonna review a skeletonized diver watch from a company called Opifex. They reached out to us and asked if we'd be willing to review their newest skeletonized diver watch launching on Kickstarter. Bond and I looked at each other, we looked at the watch, it looks interesting enough, so let's review it. Opifex 2 Skeletonized Diver. Let's start the review, as always, by looking at the dimensions of this case. We have a case diameter of 44mm, a lug-to-lug width of 53mm, a lug width of 22mm, and a thickness of exactly 13mm. Here's what the watch looks like on my 7¼ inch wrist. I think it wears big. 44mm is a bit too big for my liking. However, I do like how slender it is. 13mm thickness is not too bad. Opifex launched their Kickstarter campaign a few days ago. They have pretty much funded 100%. I think they're about 70% funded. So I have no doubt that they will get to the 100% soon. They had their special of $200 for this watch for the first, I think, 50 backers or something like that. I think there's only 1 or 2 spots left. And after that, this watch is $230 US. So I'm gonna judge this watch as a $230 US diver watch. However, this watch is not really a serious, quote-unquote, serious diving watch. It only has 100 meters of water resistance, so it puts it somewhere in safe to swim with. Probably shouldn't dive with this watch. It also has very unique and funky styling to the watch. So I don't think they were going for a serious diver watch. They were just going for something more fun, something a little different, which I gotta praise them for. Not really my style, if I'm being honest with you. I'm not a huge fan of skeletonized watches. I'm not a huge fan of funky watches, but I can't deny that this is something interesting, and I'm glad the companies are taking these kind of risks and doing different types of diving watches or diving style watches, not just the same two homages. The watch is made out of stainless steel. It has a PVD coating, as you can see. The finishes are okay. They look pretty good. Notice that the crown is at the 3 o'clock position with these crown guards, but it is not a signed crown. And I don't think they are planning to do a signed crown. A bit of a money saving there. The styling of this watch, as I mentioned, is not something that I'm a huge fan of. You have this 12, 3, 6, and 9 in Arabic numerals. The font is funky. It's cartoonish almost. It's a styling choice that they went with. Not my cup of tea. We obviously have a skeletonized dial here with these cutouts. I think the cutouts are done pretty well. Looks like they were laser cut. And then we also have these gold accents applied. I should also mention that this watch is available in a few different color combinations. The one that I'm reviewing today is the gilt version. However, there are a few other versions, and of course, depending on what kind of version you have, you'll have different colors on the bezel, as well as on these cutouts for the skeletonized portion of the dial. Quite a bit of detail with this dial. You can see the minute running track, the hour marks, semi-skeletonized pair of hands. Some solid lume on this watch actually. It's a 2-tone lume. Let me pop a lume shot on the screen right now. As you can see, it looks pretty good. Better than what I expected, if I'm honest. I also like the fact that this watch is easy enough to read. One of the things that I don't like with skeletonized watches, that a lot of times it's hard to read them because everything kind of blends in. On this design, the minute running track is on the outside of the skeletonized part, so that helps with the legibility of this watch. I also like the movement choice for the watch. So this watch is running a Seiko NH70a movement, a movement that we haven't looked at yet on this channel. Essentially, it's a cousin of an NH35 movement, 24 joules, 41 hours of power reserve, 21,600 beats per hour. This one here is beating at about plus 7 seconds per day, which is pretty excellent for a Seiko NH series movement. The big differences between this movement and the NH35 is that this one is a skeletonized movement, so you can see these cutouts in a movement to expose more of the movement, and it doesn't have a date function. so there is no ghost position. Now the crown is not a screw down crown. As I mentioned, it is unsigned, so you just pull it out and the movement stops ticking. There is no date window, so there's only one position. The 0 position is the hand winding position because it is a hand windable movement, and the first position is the time adjusting position, and of course the movement is hackable. Originally this watch was going to have a mineral crystal and not a sapphire crystal. A sapphire crystal was going to be a stretch goal. However, after giving it some more thought, they decided to upgrade all the watches to a sapphire crystal, which I think was a great choice because people at this price point at $230 do expect a sapphire crystal in their watches. So all watches will have a flat piece of sapphire crystal in them. It has this 120 click unidirectional bezel. The bezel action is poor. It sounds cheap. It has quite a bit of backplay, as you can see. It's not a well-made bezel. Maybe the bezel action will improve for the final production version. This is of course just a sample, a review sample version. However, there is something that I do like about this bezel, and it's the indices and these dashes. So of course for the 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50 seconds, you have the marks, and they are raised, and they're also iron plated. So they're not drawn on. That's iron plating. It looks good, looks sharp. It's a nice detail to have on a watch. So the watch originally came on this mesh strap. The mesh strap is pretty good. We've seen these kind of mesh straps on many different watches, and it looks all right. It doesn't look bad on a mesh strap. Of course, you can look at some pictures of this watch on a mesh strap on their website. However, I put mine on a spinnaker leather / rubber strap, so it's leather on top and rubber at the bottom. And I think the color combination as well as the quality of the strap is outstanding, and it fits really well with this watch and with the design of this watch. So what are my final thoughts on the watch? It's okay. I mean, it's not the best watch at this price point, but it's not the worst that I reviewed. I mean, you have to be really into this kind of design to truly enjoy this watch. I think some things could definitely be improved. The biggest negative to me is the bezel action. It's poor, and also the size could be shrunken. 44, you don't really need to go that big with this design. Other than that, yeah, I mean, again, you have to enjoy this design to really be into this watch. The skeletonized portion looks interesting enough, but I think we've seen similar designs in many other watches. Alright guys, so that was the full review for the Opifex 2, the skeletonized diver watch. Certainly an interesting looking watch, but it does have some shortcomings. One more negative that I forgot to mention, and it's a negative that I mentioned with pretty much all of the Kickstarter watches, that's the delivery wait. With this one you have to wait until December, which to me is a bit of a negative as a consumer. I appreciate you watching this video until the end. Please leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about this Opifex 2, the skeletonized diver watch. One last thing I gotta mention to you, they sent me this watch and I don't have to return it. Of course, that didn't affect the review in any way, but I just want to be transparent with you guys. By the way, today on my wrist, I'm wearing a Zelos Mako, a bronze diver watch with 300 meters of water resistance and a meteorite dial. I did a full review of this watch on the channel. I will also link that video in the description below. Also in the description below, there is a secret link. Have a look if you're curious. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review. I hope you had fun, and I'll see you guys next time.